Hello, please. Yeah, what's the problem, sir? We just drove down our farm track. Yeah. Go and feed our pheasants. We come across a Range Rover with 3 people in it. Yeah. It appears that they're dead. I don't know what's happening. Blood in the motor all over them.
And welcome back to a new video on the Essex Boys case. As always, if you are enjoying the content, please do give the video a thumbs up. And if you're interested in the Essex Boys case, or simply true crime in general, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. 3 drug barons found gunned down inside a Range Rover were lured to their deaths with the promise of a lucrative cocaine deal, a court heard. The near-frozen bodies of Pat Tate, Tony Tucker and Craig Rolfe were discovered by farmer Peter Theobald and his bricklayer friend Ken Jiggins the day after the executions in December 1995. An intensive 5-month police investigation followed, which got its big break when detectives arrested police informer Darren Nichols on a cannabis charge. He now provides the basis of the prosecution case. Andrew Monday QC told the Old Bailey jury the killings were the result of a falling out between Mr. Tate and defendant Michael Steele, 54, who became great friends after meeting in a Suffolk jail in 1993. Mr. Monday showed the jury, who were under police protection, a photo of the men together, but he claimed the relationship soured when a dispute arose over a cannabis consignment of very poor quality, which Steele, his right-hand man, Jack Womes, Peter Corey and Mr. Nichols had allegedly imported. Mr. Monday said Steele, an experienced navigator and pilot, had bought a rigid hull inflatable boat worth nearly £14,000 to smuggle the drugs from Belgium to England. Pat Tate had paid for around £70,000 of the consignment with money raised from friends. When the cannabis proved dud, he was given the cash back, but he told his investors Steele had failed to repay him. Mr. Tate also told them he would kill Steele after forcing him to get on his knees and admit it. Mr. Monday added, quote, "Dealing in drugs is not an honourable trade. It's often the province of the double-cross, the sting and the double deal. They are beyond the law and the remedies they take are often themselves lawless." He said when Steele decided to murder Mr. Tate, he told him a consignment of cocaine was due in Essex. He suggested they could kill the courier and take the drugs for themselves. Mr. Monday said, quote, "It was a baited hook for Mr. Tate, Mr. Tucker and Mr. Rolfe. It was a ruse to get these 3, but particularly Tate, to a deserted and therefore quiet farm track where no one would or could witness what Mr. Steele and his right-hand man, Mr. Womes, would do." On December 6, 1995, the 3 unsuspecting but no doubt excited men sat in an apparently relaxed position in the Range Rover, and you may feel with cold, ruthless and merciless efficiency they were killed, each shot a number of times through the head. Dismantling the guns they had used, Steele said, perhaps half in revelry, "That sorted them out. They will not be threatening me again." After the awfulness of what they had done, you might think it rather chilling that they had time to laugh it off, Mr. Monday added. The jury heard forensic evidence showed someone had probably lain in wait for the Range Rover in grass at the side of the track. Only 7 shotgun cartridges were found at the scene, although 8 shots were fired. Most were fired through the rear offside passenger door. Mr. Monday added, quote, "It's probable a pump-action or self-loading shotgun was used." Steele of Great Bentley, Colchester and Womes of Brockford in Suffolk deny the 3 murders. Steele, Womes and Corey, 45 of Clacton, also deny conspiring with others to import cannabis resin into the UK. Steele alone denies unlawful possession of an 8-shot pump-action shotgun. The case continues. The following newspaper article is from the 29th of February 1996 with the headline, "Jealous drugs boss shot his own pal." Murdered drug baron Tony Tucker has been blamed for shooting his own friend Pat Tate and then supplying him with a gun and drugs while he was recovering in hospital. The fateful alleged shooting came a year before both men were slaughtered. Tucker, who was slain alongside Tate and Craig Rolfe on a deserted farm track in Rettendon last December, either carried out the 1994 shooting himself or arranged it and then planted the gun on one of Tate's other pals, it is claimed. A friend of Tate claims Tucker was jealous of Tate's friendship with the other man. The shooting paints a picture of Tucker as a jealous man, capable of doing anything to make sure he got his own way. The incident happened in 1994 as Pat Tate was at home preparing to go to Tucker's party in London. He was in his bathroom shaving when the glass was shattered by a bullet which hit him in the arm. Tate's friend, a woman who does not want to be identified for fear of reprisal, says Tucker stoked Tate's fear and paranoia after the shooting by giving him a gun to protect himself while he was in hospital. She also claims that Tucker supplied Tate with drugs while he was in his hospital bed. The gun which fired the bullet was then allegedly planted at the home of a friend of Tate's. The pal was allegedly questioned about the shooting, but no one was ever charged. Tate had not long been out of prison when the bathroom shooting occurred. He had been jailed in November 1990 for 6 years for robbery and drugs charges, but was let out in July 1994 on licence. When the pistol and drugs were found, Tate's licence was revoked and he was sent back to prison to serve the remainder of his sentence. He was finally released on October 31st last year, weeks before he and the 2 other men were shot dead, their bodies discovered in a Range Rover. Police believe the Rettendon shooting was part of a drugs turf war. Tate's mother Marie confirmed that Tucker had supplied her son with drugs and the gun which was found under his hospital bed. She said, quote, "Pat could see no wrong in Tony, even when Pat was caught with the drugs and the gun. Tony said he would own up and take the blame to keep Pat out of prison, but he never did." The following newspaper article is from the 9th of the 9th, 1997, with the headline, "Forensic Scientist Describes How Trio Were Killed." 3 men killed in the Range Rover murders were each shot once from point-blank range before 5 other wounds were inflicted, probably with a pump-action shotgun that the Old Bailey heard yesterday. Forensic scientist John Burns concluded this occurred to prevent any escapes or attempts to hinder the shooting. Quote, "It appeared the incident happened extremely quickly. 1 shot was fired at each victim before further shots were fired." Most of the shots appear to have been fired at close range through the open rear offside door of the vehicle. Each of the men had received shotgun wounds to the head. There was much blood in the vehicle with splattering of blood and tissue on many of the surfaces, he added. Mr. Andrew Munday, prosecuting, told the court the incident occurred after a dispute in relation to drug dealing following a consignment of cannabis from Holland which had brought complaints all round. Michael Steele, 54 of St Mary's Road, Great Bentley, and Jack Womes, 35 of Main Road, Brockford, Suffolk, have pleaded not guilty to murdering all 3 men whose bodies were found on December 7th, 1995. Mr. Burns' estimate of the range was within 2 feet or so of a damaged headrest, and added it was consistent with the same shot having caused injury to the head or neck. Tate, slumped in the back seat, had a superficial wound caused to the back of the head, resulting in damage to the scalp, and there was a large shotgun entry wound behind the left ear. He also had an entry wound to the left side of the chest. Front seat passenger Tucker had an entry wound to the back of the head, about level of the ears, and 2 wounds to the side of the face. The driver Rolfe had an entry wound behind the top of the right ear and an entry wound at the side of the right neck. If you would like to learn more about the Range Rover murders, then click on the video in front of you now. You will also see the Essex Boys playlist, which has all of the videos concerning this case in one convenient folder. Many thanks for joining me for this video. I look forward to seeing you all again for the next one. Take care. Cheers.